our newest baby, 2 months old, Derek. And let me say I'm honored to have this platform. It's a pleasure, and I give thanks to God for even pointing me out. I suppose there are many in our midst probably who would have gotten other people who can come, but I believe God has seen it worth for me to stand in your midst tonight. So we'll be sharing on a topic. This topic is much of concern, and when I was told about sharing something about health, I was really asking myself, what is it that we can share about? There are many things that we can talk about, but then looking at what is happening in our day-to-day activities, and whenever you open on your televisions, whatever you see in the news, I saw somebody writing on social media the other day, you should take a pill of painkiller before you look at the news, because whatever it gives you is just like you feel like you have a headache, you get stressed because of whatever is happening. So apparently stress is something that probably all of us here are going through, or if you're not going through it now, you have already come out of it, or probably you're gonna get into it. And so I think this is a common ground for all of us. So when I was thinking also, sometimes as Christians, we tend to, implant ourselves so much into the spiritual world, and we forget that we have also the physical world where we have to live in. And so I was asking myself, probably somebody would think, why would we talk about stress in church? And when I was trying to refer to the Bible and trying to compare notes, I was looking at some points in the Bible where people in the Bible, very famous people in the Bible, somebody like David, was going through stress at some points in his time, in his life. Somebody like Paul, when Paul was saying there is a thorn that was put in his flesh, that every time, it keeps on pricking him. What was that thorn? It's some, pressures in life. When David was saying that his enemies were almost swallowing him whole, that is a stress in life. And so it applies to us now, and it applies to the people even in the Bible. And so going ahead, I would like us to think, what is stress? And probably most of us, every day in our life, we would say, hey, I feel stressed. I feel, I'm under pressure. So it's something we talk about every day. So who is controlling this right? So stress, in a simple definition, is the body's reaction to any changes that require an adjustment or a response. So the body usually reacts in different ways, either physically, emotionally, mentally, and others. So when we say that it is anything that requires adjustment or response, it means even a change, moving from maybe one job to another is a form of stress. It requires you to adjust, and your body has to respond in a certain way. When your boss calls you in the morning after you report to work and gives you ABCD, gives you a lecture, it's stress. It requires your response, and it requires your adjustment. So it's basically something that we go through almost on a daily basis. So stress, that is why I've said stress is a normal part of life. There is nothing demonic about being stressed, but there is everything demonic about dwelling in it. Yeah. So let's go ahead and see. So some of the things that come into our minds when we are stressed are like, why am I feeling this way? What is not happening? What should I do now? And who should help me? So basically, most of the times, when we go through this kind of questions, some people dwell here, they stay here, they don't move ahead, they don't get answers to these questions. So when you think of why am I feeling this way, and you tend to dwell there, you're kind of, your mentality kind of feels, okay, this is a normal way of life, this is how I should be. When you think, who should help me? Many people don't like to reach out, yeah? So whenever you are going through a stressful part of life, you want to dwell there, you don't want to reach out to people, and so that is what makes even stress now move forward to depression, yeah? We'll be talking about depression after that, and we'll see see what is the difference between stress and depression. Let's go ahead. Okay, so our bodies when stressed generally adapt in 3 stages. So alarm stage. What is alarm stage? For example, when somebody comes to you, or rather your boss comes to you in the morning and tells you, you know, you did not meet your target, for example, for this month. That is the first stage, alarm stage, okay? It destabilizes your status quo. It destabilizes your normal way of, you know, doing things, because he has like, or she has like injected a kind of stressful or stressor into you. So in the alarm stage, what happens? So when the boss calls you in the morning and tells you, you know, you did not meet your target, and because of that, we're gonna cut your salary this month, or you're not going to get, you know, your full benefits, something happens in your body. Your body senses some kind of danger, yeah? So what happens is that the body has a way of reacting. So what the body does, it releases some hormones, yeah? So the hormone, one of the hormones which is released is called adrenaline. So what does adrenaline do? It either makes you to fight back or to fly away. So it's called the fight and flight hormone. So for example, for those who are going to fight back, they are going to maybe argue their cases, you know, out with the boss. You know, you can give me this more time and this, I did meet this because of this and that. That is the flight reaction. For the person who is going to have flight, is going to run away. So they will think, okay, this boss is on my case. This boss, you know, it doesn't like me to progress or whatever it is. So they will take a backward step. So instead of fighting, they will flight. So that is the alarm stage. It destabilizes your normal, you know, way of doing things. So in the resistance stage, which is the stage 2, that is now where the body now tries to think, okay, fine, this has happened, so what do? We cannot stay in this stage of flight and fight, you know, throughout. So the body now tries to readjust. You have to come back to your normal self. So the body tries to give you some coping mechanism. When you have a coping mechanism, people cope in different ways. There are people who will go talking, you know, after that meeting, you go call all your friends, go call all your colleagues and tell them, you know what, today I've been given a lecture by the boss. This is what was happening. This is what he told me. So this is a coping mechanism for this person. You know, you let it out. You talk about it. You tell people what is happening. This is a way of trying to relieve the stress. For some people, they stay in denial, you know. You assume, like for example, when something bad happens to you, maybe you lose a loved one, or you're diagnosed with a chronic illness or something that is not, you know, in the normal, maybe you have a disease that you didn't expect or something like that. So the way of coping for some people is to deny. So your body tries to resist, you know, that kind of feeling, that kind of thought. For some people, they get angry, you know. So because the boss or whoever it is has told you 1, 2, 3, you react by getting angry. So in other words, the resistance stage is a stage for somebody to try to cope. The body tries to cope with the situation. Now, the exhaustion stage is where now the body's ways of, or rather the resources are depleted. Okay? So either if you didn't cope in the resistance stage, your body gives up. So when you go to the exhaustion stage, now this is where you find somebody, you know, who maybe was so talkative, somebody who was outgoing, you know, it's like cocooned. You know, they cannot talk anymore. You know, whenever you ask them what is happening, they're not ready to talk. If they were going to church, maybe they're not ready to go to church anymore. If they were going to prayer meetings, they're not ready to go to prayer meetings anymore. That is the body's way of reaction, and that is the exhaustion stage. So in the exhaustion stage, people react in different ways. And in this stage, that is where you find people, like the many things we are hearing in our countries and everything. This one has killed that one, this one has done that. That is, you know, in the exhaustion stage. The body cannot, you know, cope anymore. So people react in different ways. All right? So this is just a way of laying out what things are happening in your body when you're stressed. First, you're anxious, you know, you feel harassed by life, you know, you feel like you're in a crisis, and, you know, all those kind of things. So basically that is what is trying to show in this picture. Okay, so what is the cause of stress? Basically, we cannot really quantify or classify stress as 1, 2, 3 because different people are stressed by different things. Basically, what can stress me may be not what can stress you. So, for example, you find people coming and telling you, okay, I'm stressed about this, and you're like, how can you get stressed about such a thing, you know? Because what can stress me is not what can stress the other person. So, whenever somebody tells you they are stressed, don't, brush them off. Whatever can stress them, their coping mechanism is not the same way of how you can cope. So I just tried to put a few of those things that, we can put, but there are so many things that can stress us. So some of the things are death of a loved one, a divorce, a loss of a job, increase in financial obligations, getting married or rather changing your status, moving to a new home, chronic illness, emotional problems, and all that and all that. The list is endless. Like I said, it depends on somebody's personality. Maybe you can be stressed of not having breakfast in the morning. The other person can be stressed of, not affording bus fare, something like that. So different things stress different people because of their coping mechanisms. Okay, so what are some of the negative things that happen when you're stressed? In this also, different people will experience different things, okay? So for some people, just the thought of not having, salary at the end of the month, the boss told you there is no salary at the end of the month, your pressure shoots. Recently one of my friends, because of the stress they were going through in their place of work, she got a stroke, yeah? When you ask her what happened, you have never had high blood pressure, you have never had all these kind of things, what happens? And she was like, only for that 1 week when she got so much pressure at work, and she started fainting, and when she went to the hospital, she was told she has high blood pressure, yeah? So this is one way of the body's reacting, and it's because of the hormones that are released in the body. The other thing is stomach ulcer. Why get stomach ulcer? One thing that happens during that alarm stage is that your body, the blood, the way the blood circulates in the body, it doesn't go to all the main organs. For example, or rather it is diverted to the main organs. So it will go to the brain, it will go to the heart, it will go to the muscles, and it will stop going to some places like the stomach. So what happens in the stomach is that you have this acid which digests food. So when there is no enough blood supply, there is no also that mucus which protects the lining of the stomach. So what happens is that acid now starts corroding your stomach lining, and so some people will be diagnosed with high blood pressure. So insomnia or rather lack of sleep, also it's because of some of those hormones. Constipation, also because of lack of enough blood supply to the abdominal organs. Decreased immune system, because there is a hormone called cortisol. Now, during the release of adrenaline, also it makes that release of the hormone which is called cortisol. Now, what cortisol does, it has a lot of effects in our bodies. One, it reduces your immune system. Two, it causes high blood sugar. Three, it causes it's kind of weaken your bones, yeah? So some of these things, for those people, this may not happen to everyone, but everybody may react in a different way during the stressful moments. So weak bones, as I said, is because of this cortisol hormone. Social isolation and addiction, like I was saying, some people may decide either to pull out, or if, for example, they find pleasure in either drinking, in smoking, in whatever kind of addiction. So they will, due to the stressful situation, they will find themselves, getting more and more attached into whatever things that they feel are relieving their stress or making them forget their stress. Eating disorder, for some people, it's either they will overeat or they will undereat. So for some people, you may think, okay, this person is saying they're stressed and they're just gaining weight, how? Or this person is saying they're stressed and they're just losing weight. So for some people, they may gain weight. For some people, they may lose weight because of stress. And then for some, they will have deterioration in health. So your body becomes very weak and you can just be getting every kind of diseases that come along. Okay? So 4 categories of stress warning signs that you should look for. How will you guess that you're stressed? For some people, they will have a lot of migraine headaches. So maybe you just feel this headache that doesn't go, you try to take painkillers, you try to, rest, take water, whatever it is, but it doesn't go. For some people, like I said, they will find maybe you are trying to come out of some addiction of some kind, but then now, because of the stress, you find yourself, getting more and more into the addiction that you're trying to avoid. For some people, they get angry, anything, somebody tries to ask you something and everybody around you is like, what has happened to so and so? Because you are untouchable. Every time somebody wants to talk to you, you are so angry, you are so offended, So for some people, that is how you try to know that you're getting stressed. For some people, they get emotional, yeah? So you feel just teary, you just want to cry most of the times, you want to be isolated and all that. So these are some of the things to look out for. Okay, so how does stress affect our brains or the mental effects of stress? One of the things is memory problems. Because of maybe the many things that you're thinking about, the many stressful situations that are there, you kind of try to forget. And by the way, for some people, forgetting is a way of coping mechanism. You try to put whatever is stressing you behind your mind. So instead of keeping on letting that thing ring in your mind, you try to put it behind your mind. But if it continues for a long time, it becomes a memory problem. So you forget even what you're not supposed to forget. So for some, it's inability to concentrate. Maybe I'm talking here and somebody is thinking, what are you talking about? I'm already stressed. So they cannot even understand what I'm talking about now. So for some people, concentration is depleted. So for some, it's poor judgment. They cannot really make out the right and the wrongs. They are not able to make choices properly. For some, they see negative in everything. You try to talk them into something, try to talk them into a business, they see negative. Probably you've lost money in something. So anybody who comes to you telling you anything about money, you see like they have been sent by the devil himself to come and stress you further. So these kind of people, they try to see negative. Whatever you talk them into, they just see negative into them. And the other thing is they worry constantly. However much you try to encourage them, however much you may pray for them, they constantly keep on getting worried. For the body, how the body reacts, we have just gone through some of them, is you have body pain, some have loose motion, constipation, dizziness. For some, they have even chest pain because of the adrenaline. For some, they lose sexual drive. For some, we have frequent ailments that are simple flu. Everybody is getting flu. The weather has changed, you get sick. The weather has gone like this, you get sick because of the body being stressed. Okay, for some emotional symptoms, some will be moody throughout, irritability and short tempers. For some people, they are not able to relax, however much you may even take them out, buy them a coffee, but still they will not be relaxed. Feeling overwhelmed, sense of loneliness and isolation, and feelings of depression and unhappiness. For some of the behavioral symptoms, we already mentioned, some are eating problems, sleeping problems, isolation from others. You used to walk in a group and you're not there. You used to sing in the choir, you don't go to the choir anymore. You used to be an intercessor, you're not interested in intercession anymore. So they neglect those places, the social places they used to go to. And some neglect their responsibility. For example, you have your mother or a father, what you're supposed to do in your family, you don't do it anymore. For some, they keep postponing things, what you're supposed to do today, you want to do it tomorrow. When tomorrow comes, you postpone to the following day. For some, they abuse drugs, and this gives them a feeling of, relaxation, of course, which is just a way of running away from the reality, because once the drugs they take comes out of their body again, the stressful situation, rings back to their mind again. For some, it's nervous habits. You have ever, sat with a person who cannot, be stable even for 1 minute. They feel like, the way like a leaf looks like around. So they are stressful. They are stressed. They cannot be stable even for a while. For some, that is what they go through. Okay? So, in other words, there is no particular way of managing stress, because managing stress depends with first the strength of the psychological strength of that person, the spiritual background, the people you associate yourself with. That is what makes you be able to deal with the stress. So whatever I'm going to outline here is not like the ultimate. It's just a guideline of some of the things that we can do. So some of the techniques that you can use is first to believe in yourself and have faith in God. For sure, sometimes you can talk to people, you can source help from people and not get help. But whenever you have faith in God, believing that something better will happen, there is a better tomorrow. We have just declared what 2019 means for us. By internalizing, by accepting, making your mind believe those things, you can come out of stress. So believing also in yourself, knowing that you're not down there, you're the head and not the tail, kind of talking yourself out of those stressful situations can make you come out of stress. Others are frequent physical, mental, and spiritual exercises. So sometimes we really neglect, like what we eat, for example. Let me use that. You find maybe you want just to take junk foods, there is a lot of association with the mind and what we eat, for example. There are some foods you eat, when you eat, for example, junk food, a lot of sugars, a lot of carbonated drinks, Coca-Cola, all those things, they kind of make you more stressed actually, because that lot of sugar in your body is not helpful. So when we go to the depression, we're going to be talking about the kind of food that you're going to be, which can help you come out of stress. So a lot of physical and mental and spiritual exercises. Others are sharing your worries with others. It's always good to reach out. I've seen recently mostly because these things are in social media from our countries and all that, people who have killed themselves first tried to talk about it, but nobody took them seriously. And because there is a lot of, these days, people, I don't know, there is a lot of people not taking each other seriously. So somebody goes out on Facebook or Instagram and puts across maybe a statement, I want to kill myself, I've given up, and all that, and you hear so many comments down there. If you wanted to kill yourself, you would have died long time ago. If this, if that, people don't care anymore. So after that, the next thing you hear, somebody killed themselves because they were just trying to reach out, but there was nobody. So it's always good also to know what kind of friends you associate yourself with. Associate with yourself with people of good conduct. People say that, show me your friends and I'll tell you your character. So the people you move around with should be people who can be in a position to give you a shoulder to lean on. A friend in need, in need is a friend indeed. So people, one of the ways of coping with stress is by sharing with trusted friends and always think positively. There are some people who have, like that pessimistic kind of thinking. For them, nothing is positive. If you tell them, hold this mic, they will think, okay, why you are using me to hold the mic? If you tell them, please throw this bottle for me, they will think, why do you think I'm the one who can throw the bottle? Like, nothing good, there is nothing good in life for them. So, the more negative you think, the more stressed you become. So, it's always good to think positively. And basically, you are what you think. So, if you continue thinking negatively, that is what you become. If you talk yourself into positive things, that is what you become. So try to think positively. Then distance yourself from pessimistic people, like I said. Don't stay with people who are always negative. People who cannot see anything good out of life. Yeah. Take time from your busy schedule to take a nature walk. Sometimes we have become workaholics. You work from morning to evening, you go at home, you continue. Basically, sometimes it's because of the nature of what we do. Maybe we are away from our families and we want to make an extra coin, maybe to save and all that. But all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So if you work, and then die without using that money, was it of any help? So it's always good to take a short time. Even treat yourself once in a while. There are people who even buying themselves a handkerchief is like, I don't know. I mean, it's your money. It's you who has worked for it. At least treat yourself. There may be all the bills. At the end of the day, you will pay the bill. You enrich the owner of that building and all that and all that. At the end of the day, you may not have anything to show for your hard work. So just take time and treat yourself as well. So learn to say no and be assertive. Not every weed that comes that you should sway with, Somebody tells you, let's go this way, you go that way. Let's go this way, let's do that, you do that. So it's good to be assertive and know who you are. And whatever needs to say no, just say no for that. So manage time wisely by jotting down your plans. There is something very good, and my husband always encourages me in that. Whenever you write something, actually the initial thing of writing itself, makes those things start to be. Because by writing, it implants in your mind. So by putting a plan of what you want to do, it solves half of the problems. Because you can always go back also and see whether you have achieved what you wanted to do. So it's always good to try to manage your time and your things positively. By planning. Get good massage, eat healthy, like I said, treat yourself, get enough sleep and relax. At least if you don't get the 8 recommended hours, try to get 6. Don't sleep for 2 hours, again go to work for 12 hours, come sleep for 2 hours. At the end of the day you feel exhausted, and that is stressful in itself. So remember, this life is too special to waste it stressed. There is no rehearsal. There is no tomorrow to say now, I rehearsed yesterday, I know the things I did wrong and the ones I did right, now I have tomorrow to live it right. It is only today. We don't know when we can go to the maker. So live today as if there is no tomorrow. So as Psalms 139 declares, you're special. So always take yourself in a special way and think positively. So I just want to put a comment there first, and first ask if there is anything I should clarify, any comments, any questions before we go to depression. Anything that maybe I should clarify? Question?
Please go back to the other page. Just return to the first page.
I hope I'm still on time.
Like the other one, I said, get good message and eat healthy diet. Okay, if you don't have money to take care of yourself, a good healthy, eat healthy, then what can you do? Because some situations, people will fall into the tough situations. So I don't know. That one I'll clarify.
I'll take that. I'll answer maybe a few together. Yeah. I can take another one and another one so that I'll answer them together. Any other questions? Okay. Let me answer that. As we go on, maybe some more questions will be coming up. When we go to depression, actually, it's like kind of same with stress, but it is a more deeper thing. So you can be thinking of the questions as we go ahead. So he's asking, the question is genuine. There are people who cannot afford a good diet, for example. But sometimes what we call good diet is not the real diet. Because for some, maybe a good diet is for them going to McDonald's and affording a food of 50 dirhams or something. But in essence, the good diet is actually cheaper than what we think. Because if you can be in a position to buy one orange, if you can be in a position to buy one apple, they say an apple keeps the doctor away. If you can be able to buy one apple, because basically we don't do vegetables. Most of the people are so much into, they think meat is a better diet, They think, all those junk things that we think, the ice creams and all that is a good diet. Basically, the things that are good diet is the greens, the vegetables, the fruits, and apparently on a daily basis, even you can get an apple for a dirham or even less. You can get an orange for a dirham or less. A massage, you don't necessarily have to go to the spa to get a massage. Even a friend can, even yourself, you can try to massage yourself. Yeah? Even a friend, or even a walk in the park, If you cannot do a massage, for example, you can walk in the park, right? Like when the weather is good, just take a walk, a few minutes, instead of just staying in your accommodation, sleep the whole day and all that. Just take a walk. Apparently, this is my life experience. Whenever you feel stressed, especially when you're in a closed environment, like in a house, there is a way your mind is enclosed. You kind of feel more stressed when you're indoors. And there is a lot of relaxation when you go outside. Just that breathing of fresh air, even seeing water, for me, it works for me a lot. Even I usually tell my husband, I just want to go and just see water. I don't want to do anything. Just to see the flow of water, just to see water running. There is a lot of refreshment in the nature. We usually want to go to other many complex things, but help is just in our out of your door. So it's good just to walk out, breathe that fresh air for an hour or so. It will be good for you. You don't need to wait for the fresh air at all. Yeah? Okay, let's go. Yes.
This, my question is, can someone ever live a stress-free life?
It's difficult to answer that, but I would say stress is part of life. If when you remember when I started, I said there is nothing satanic about being stressed. It's normal, because even the people in the Bible got stressed. Like I said, David was saying the enemies could have swallowed him up. For example, Paul was saying there is a thorn. We don't know what are the thorns because it is not explained in the Bible like in details. But I suppose the thorns that he's talking about are the stressful things that were surrounding him. So in essence, you cannot live a stress-free life. The problem is how to deal with the stress. So for some people, they dwell there and they sit there and they sink there. That is a problem. Yeah? Okay. I opt to go on with depression. Maybe as I move with depression, I may answer some questions, and then after the depression, I can take now the questions together. Okay, now, there is a difference between depression and stress. Sometimes we are not able to differentiate, but stress is something that you can be in today and come out of it tomorrow. But depression is more than that. It's not just being, I'm not in the mood. It's not just being, I'm sad today. It's more than that. And that is what I've said here. It's just more than sadness. Okay? So what is depression? Depression is a common and debilitating mood disorder. More than just sadness in response to life struggles and setbacks, depression changes how you think, feel, and function in daily activities. Now, I listened to some talk that some people with mental health were being interviewed, and basically they were having depression. And one thing that they were almost all of them were pointing out is for them to live a normal day, it's very difficult. One of the ladies was saying that for her to come out of bed, if she wakes up in the morning and she's able even to go and have a shower, she knows that is a good day. Because for her, her usual depressive mood is she will just be in the bed, she cannot do anything for herself. She's not like physically sick, but this mental agony, you cannot come out of it. So it's just more than, it's like a crowd, a heavy crowd. When it wants to rain, the way it looks very cloudy and big and everything. That's what depression is like. So depression is more than just being stressed and just being sad. And for some people, it's even difficult. One was saying, for her, she was kind of hiding that she's depressed. So what she used to do, She used to clean only the living room in case her friends come in, but everywhere else in that house was a mess because she could not put herself into cleaning, and she could not, what can I say, she could not function. So a good day is when she can only be in a position to clean that living room, just for her friends, and also to hide what she was going through. So it is something that is, it's that cloud in somebody's life. So some of the symptoms of depression, it varies from person to person, but there are some common signs and symptoms which we are going to look at. So some of them are the feeling of helplessness and hopelessness. You know that kind of feeling like there's no more happiness to life. I mean, I don't need to live anymore. That is how somebody who is depressed feels like. Loss of interest in daily activities, like I said, these are people who cannot work, they cannot, do their daily chores, they cannot do anything. Appetite or weight changes, they don't have appetite to eat, they don't want to eat. Sleep changes, they either oversleep or not sleep at all. Anger and irritability, loss of energy, they feel so powerless. Like I said, that lady was saying, even getting her leg out of bed to go and shower, it was difficult. So there are days that she could just be in the bed like the whole day. And even she would know that it is a brighter day if she can be in a position to go and shower. So that is what it means by loss of energy, self-loathing, reckless behavior. You don't care anymore. Like if this person is driving, they just want to drive recklessly so that, if they can get an accident and die. They don't have hope in life anymore. Concentration problems, unexplained body pains, unexplained body aches. These are just part of the many things that the depressed people go through. So some of the effects on the body, for the brain, it will cause lack of sleep, headache, fatigue. On the body, chronic pains, loose motion, constipation, joint pains, increased heart, either the heart diseases, either the heartbeats will increase or decrease, weight loss, and loss of libido for those who are married, no sexual drive. So one of the most associated things with depression is suicide. And when you look at what is happening actually on a day-to-day basis, it's more than stress. Because for those maybe who come from my country, I'm from Kenya, every day, almost on a single daily basis, we have news of somebody who killed somebody, a lover who kills the girlfriend, a person who hanged themselves. And there's a lot of suicidal and homicidal issues that are going on. And so for these people, we should not just look at them as, they want to kill or something. There is something more than just maybe what we can see. Maybe these people are depressed. So depression is a major risk factor to suicide. The deep despair and hopelessness that goes along with depression can make suicide feel like the only way to escape pain. So for this person, they feel like dying is the only escape from this pain. Since nobody can help them out, this life has nothing better to offer. So the best way to do away with this thing is to die. So these people will do most of these things. And now, when we are talking of this, I would like all of us to be cautious. Like I said, most people are selling this kind of things in social media. I feel, like giving up. I feel like, killing myself and all that. And we talk them to doing that because we think it's a joke. But whenever you see this thing that somebody is talking about these things more and more, it's a red light to committing suicide. One of the things is talking about killing or harming oneself, expressing strong feelings of hopelessness or being trapped, unusual preoccupation with death or dying, acting recklessly as if they have a death wish, e.g. speeding through red lights, calling or visiting people to say goodbye, getting affairs in order, giving away prized possessions, trying up loose ends, saying things like everyone would be better off without me or I want out, a sudden switch from being extremely depressed to acting calm and happy. For example, if you know this person who has been at a low mood, low profile throughout, and today this person is in a different kind of mood, they are happy, they are excited, you should raise some eyebrows. Because how comes this person who has been moody the better part of his life, only today they have become better? So for those people who want to commit suicide, most of them do like this. It's a way of blinding people. So I don't know whether you have ever seen whenever somebody is very sick and you go to see them in the hospital, the day they die, they are very bright. They eat and you go home saying, wow, today they took everything that we took to them, they ate, they fed well, they were laughing, they were talking, and they have not been talking for a while. And that's the day they die. So it's the same with suicide. The day they feel excited and they look like they are in a good mood, maybe the day they are planning to commit suicide. So these are things to look out to. So like I said, we have a lot of suicidal feelings. So depression is different in different people. So the way a man looks when he's depressed is different from how a woman looks and how an older person looks. So just a few things to look out for. For example, if it's a man, depressed men are less likely to acknowledge feelings of self-loathing and hopelessness. Now, men, it's natural that they have an ego of some kind. So the man will not come and accept in front of you bluntly that I'm depressed. Yeah? So for them, they will hide. For women, we are very good in talking it out. Yeah? So for a man, they will just hold it in. Instead, they tend to complain about other things. So they will complain about fatigue, sleep problems, loss of interest in work and hobbies. They also more likely to experience some anger. Mostly, it's men who are killing others. Like the many cases we are hearing, it's the man who killed the woman and all that, they killed the children and all that. Aggression, reckless behavior, and the drug abuse and all that. So these are the things to look out for in men who are depressed. Depression in women, for women, they will experience this depression in some of these symptoms. They will feel feelings of guilt, excessive sleep, overeating, and weight gain. Depression in women also impacted by hormonal factors. For some, it may be because of the hormones. So sometimes because of the hormonal changes, the depression may be even deeper, either when they are pregnant or during the menstrual periods or when they are going through menopause, they may show signs of depression. For some also, it's after childbirth. For some people, they go through 1 out of 7 women experience depression after childbirth. In teenagers, they will show irritability, anger, agitation. Often the most noticeable for them in the teens is the feeling is not sadness. They may also complain of headaches, stomach aches, and other physical pains. I'm trying to rush so that you can save time. How much more time do we have? Okay. So in adults, older adults, they tend to complain more about the physical rather than the emotional signs and symptoms of depression. So they will be talking about body aches, body pains, memory loss. They may also neglect their personal hygiene and stop taking their medical medications if, for example, they are under treatment of a certain disease. So, like I said, the depression is like that crowd. That there is that mood of darkness and crowdiness. That is how the people who are depressed feel. Depression causes and risk factors. Some of the things that causes depression, they are either biological, physiological, psychological, or social factors. So let's look at them. Some of them are almost the same, like stress. But now for these people, they don't come out of it. They get deeper into it. So like if you see some of these things are just the same as whatever we talked in stress. But for these people, instead of, talking themselves out of the stress and moving on, they get seated into the problems and then they proceed from stress to depression. I don't want to read all of them, we have just discussed. Okay, go ahead. So how do we cope with depression? Basically, for depression, it's not something like stress, like you can be stressed today and tomorrow when things look better, you come out of it. for these people, it's something that they can go on for months. At least the person who will be in depression, the least is maybe 6 months. So some of the things is that they can do to cope is to reach out to other people. So because isolation fuels depression, so it's always good to have somebody who is with them, talk to them, talk about other things about life, not about the depression itself, so that they can be in a position to move on. So for again, regular exercises can be effective, and they are even the exercise here, like I've said, it's better than even taking medication. So there is something in eating well and exercising. Eat a mood boosting diet. Reduce your intake of foods that can affect your mood. Something like coffee, alcohol, fatty foods, sugars, refined carbohydrates. All these things are mood enhancers. They will change your mood in a negative way. So take things like omega-3 fatty acids, which can boost your moods. And find ways to engage again with the world. Like for example, if there is something you enjoy doing, if you enjoy swimming, you can go swimming. If you enjoy doing a certain kind of a hobby, try to do that, and it can bring you out of the depression. So this is just basically ways of coping, like I said. Try to sleep well, eat well. Okay, and always ask for help. The people who are depressed will feel like you're in this pit here, and sometimes they feel like nobody cares. Yeah. So like this guy is looking and saying, no one has ever felt like this. You feel like you are the only person who is going through that thing. Lest do you know, maybe if you talk to the other person next to you, they have been through worse things than yourself. So sometimes by just holding things to yourself, you think you are at your worst. Yet, maybe there is somebody who, if they tell you their problems, you'll be like, okay, I'm not going even through trouble. So it's always good to reach out and to talk. Okay? So for depression, it needs also medical assistance. So if, for example, you cannot cope with all those things we have talked about, it's always good to seek professional help. Okay? And that's it. I have one question here. Somebody is asking how is stress related to weight gain. When I talked about the hormonal changes, there is that hormone called cortisol. So the cortisol is a hormone that does so many things in your body. It increases the blood sugar in your body. It increases the way the metabolism takes place in your body. So you may even eat little. It is either two ways. Either because of the hormone or because of overeating. The people who are stressed can try to hide into eating food. So you try to, eat more and more, thinking that it is a way of coping with stress. For example, if I'm stressed, maybe I want to eat the things that I don't usually eat. I want to take an ice cream, I want to take KFC, I want to take this as a way of trying to, divert your mind. If it is not because of overeating, then it's because of this hormone called cortisol. Yeah? If no more questions. Yeah.
There is a question from our online viewers. One of them is asking, does lack of vitamin D cause stress?
No, it doesn't cause stress. Because what vitamin D is, it gives strength to the bones. So it will not necessarily cause stress psychologically. It may maybe make you feel weak and tired, but not necessarily making you psychologically stressed.
I have a question. I've seen you mentioned that many people in the current situation, current what they're using social media to express their problems, and later we hear that the community society, for example, when somebody is sending red flags about what's going through, then the next thing we've heard that is community suicide. So can you say that if we reduce the engagement on social media, can it be a way of reducing depression?
I would think it would make it worse, because social media is being used as a platform of expressing the person who is expressing themselves maybe have tried to talk to the next person near to them, and they are not maybe able to either help or they are not ready to reason. So these people have turned to social media to see maybe if there is somebody who can reach out. But in other words, what we are doing is we are looking at this as a way of joking, because people have used social media in all kind of ways. And so instead of people taking this person seriously, they think, okay, this person is just posting something, this person is just, want likes and comments and all that. So I would say instead of reducing the engagement, we should try to take those things that we are seeing in the social media more seriously.
Praise the Lord.
Amen.
My question is this, please, what are the negative effects of taking coffee? Because personally, I tend to take coffee more because it keeps me alert, especially when I don't have enough sleep. It keeps me going for the day. And what are the alternatives that can do that same thing that coffee does for me? If coffee is harmful.
Okay, first of all, there's no problem with taking coffee in the right amount. Basically, even taking tea has nicotine, so it is a stimulant also as well. But now the problem is when you take coffee and you take it to stimulate you, you are taking it with an agenda. Let me put it that way. So you are taking it either to keep you alert, to give you lack of sleep and all that. So coffee is a stimulant. So what it does, it works on your brain. It works actually for some even it works on the bladder, so you want to keep going to the washroom many times. And so it gives you a pacing heartbeat. So for you and for some people, they take it so conk so that it can keep them going. So what I can say is, instead of taking coffee to keep you alert, why don't you either take enough sleep so that you can be alert when you need to be alert, yeah, and just take coffee for the sake of you want to have a drink, not so that it can keep you stimulated, because it's like a drug actually. You will keep taking it, increasing it in amount, because you feel, okay, I was taking 1 spoon, now 1 spoon it cannot do what I want, so you increase to 2 spoons and all that and all that. And so at the end of the day, it's like the same thing with somebody who is taking a cigarette, somebody who is taking tobacco, because coming out of it, it's going to be a problem. So maybe to answer your question, you said, what can you do to stop? So try to have enough sleep, try to relax. When you are awake, try to take moments of relaxation. Because for example, if you take a walk, if you jog, if you do an exercise, it makes your body tired. So by the time you go to sleep, you really want to sleep because your body is physically tired. Yeah? So try to manage also your time. Try to plan so that you can finish the things you want to finish in the time that you have. So that you don't want to keep yourself awake more than the hours that you need to be sleeping to finish your work.
Yeah. Praise God. My question is more of if someone who's depressed comes to you as a trusted friend, what are the ways you can encourage them to come out of that situation?
Okay. There is something that is called the grieving process. A grieving process is that when this person comes in this stressful situation, they will be either in these 5 steps of the grieving process. It's basically known in a short way as DABDA. So they will either be in the denial stage. The denial is when they are going through a problem, but whenever you ask them, they keep telling you, no, I'm okay. So that is the denial stage. They will either be in the anger stage where they don't want anybody to talk to them. Yeah? Either in the bargaining stage. In the bargaining stage, they try to juggle with life. What if God can give me one more chance to do this? God can do this so that I can do this. So in all these stages, you need to understand. When you find somebody in the anger stage, don't try to tell them I can understand what you're going through, because you cannot understand. So for some people, they just want a shoulder to lean on. Whenever you just give them a hearing ear, whenever you listen to their complaints,
they will feel more satisfied. Maybe they don't even want a solution from you. They just want somebody to listen to what they are saying. And mostly, for most people, they don't have somebody to listen to them because I'm busy doing this, I'm busy doing that, and so they have nobody to express their feelings to. So I would suggest that check which stage they are in. Is it the anger stage? If they are angry, don't try to force them to talk. Just be there for them. Even it feels good even just to sit there. You are silent, but that person feels there is a friend who I can rely on. So I think it's just about first understanding what they are going through. Don't tell them you can understand because you can't. And try to have a hearing, to give a shoulder to lean on, and try to listen to what they are saying.
I was asked one question.
How
Praise the Lord. Yeah. I want to just ask that what's the best way to get rid of depression? So that I've seen the list you get. I'm not giving it. I want you to just get the best way. What is the best way? Is it by eating? Is it by drinking? What is the best way? There's no best way.
Best way of getting out of depression.
Yes, that's not good.
There is no thing that can be pointed as the best way, because what may work for me may not work for you. So maybe by you, like I said, for me it makes me feel good when I go out and see nature. So maybe that is not the same for another person. So I think it first starts with you identifying what makes you feel good. Yeah. So when you are able to understand yourself, then you are able to reach, because like I said, the treatment is associated with the cause. So if the cause of your depression is because of loneliness, then reach out to friends. If the cause of depression is because of, for example, an addiction, then try to come out of that addiction. So it's about you understanding what is making you depressed that can be the solution. Yeah. So I think, I don't know how much time I have. I will try to answer these 3 questions that I have here. And I can, 5 more minutes, okay, fine. I will try to answer this, and if there are more questions, maybe there will be a next time. Okay, somebody is asking, average noise make my mind feel crowded. Is this a sign of stress? It's not necessarily a sign of stress, but there are people who, maybe the noise comes in when you're already fatigued, when you're already tired. So in such a situation, it will make you even feel like, or rather you have already stresses from other things, and so this person who is increasing the noise makes you even feel like worse. So I think I wouldn't really classify it as the noise is what is making you stressed. I would say it increases the level of stress that you already had. So you are already stressed, and now this noise is making you even feel more stressed. Then somebody asked, can a continuous headache be classified as depression? I would say no. There are different types of headaches. There is migraine headache, tension headache, different types of headache depending. For example, a migraine would come because of either lack of sleep and lack of, maybe you're hungry and all that, so you get a migraine. So I think it is good first to understand what kind of a headache are you going through so that you can understand what is the cause. But a headache cannot be classified as a depression. Then another person is asking, you said something about taking alcohol so as to boost your mood during depression. Is alcoholic drink good for the body? I didn't say that you should take alcohol to feel. Maybe I was misquoted. I didn't say so. I hope so. If you did, what I said is, some people when they are depressed, they will try to indulge in alcohol as a way of, numbing your mind, telling your mind, okay, I'm not depressed.
telling your mind, I'm not depressed. You know, it's a way of coping. You are trying to run away from the reality. Because what does the alcohol do? The alcohol kind of numbs the reality. So you are not able to reason properly. You are not able to, critically think. So you think you're okay at that point when you're drunk. But I did say that it's a solution to taking alcohol. I'll just answer one last one. What if somebody is asking, what if it's your wife who is giving you stress? Okay, we may be laughing actually. Well, we may be laughing asking a genuine question. Yeah, so let's not laugh it out and think, okay, this person is just asking a funny question. It's not funny. I cannot really answer in a nutshell. There is no one word to answer this because you would need to talk more to know what kind of stress you're going through. So maybe I'll talk to you later or something. So when you talk